Hi guys, follow me on Instagram to never ever miss any of my crazy updates. Hi guys and welcome to another vlog. I am driving this. This is the Bentley Bentayga and right in front it's standing. So we're going to open the engine bay right away. This is the engine bay of this Bentley SUV. Now it's powered by a V8 engine and it happens to be a lower trim. It's actually the base trim of the Bentayga, which means that it misses out on a lot of features. Unfortunately, there is insulation right there. Meanwhile, as you can see, the grille is all blacked out because when they launched the Bentayga, it had a chrome grille. Now the W12 Speed as well as the diesel get a chrome surround, but the center part is in black. This gets the full gloss black treatment. You get the Bentley logo right there, which obviously looks really nice because it's placed in so many ways across the car. Super nice, super cute. Not cute, actually very luxurious somehow. But the lights are super bright and it says Bentley right inside, just in case when you're looking at the light you forget which car it is. You see the jewel effect. There's a towing hook up front. There are front parking sensors and this doesn't seem to be the fog light. What is it? Can you guys guess? Meanwhile, the towing hook, which I already showed you, great ground clearance on offer, and they've done a great job of concealing this so nothing hits when you go off the road. This is the night vision camera. Yeah, there is where the sensor is. From the front, it looks like a jacked up Continental GT, which is a bit of an issue because it's not the most proportionate SUV from other directions, especially when you look it from the quarter side. You feel that it could have been a little bit better balanced for sure. Alrighty, you've got this beautiful B treatment here on the fender, and you can also optionally opt for this thing over here. Yeah, the flying one with crystal, diamond, whatever you feel like. You know what? The amount of money you have is how good the car will turn out to be, because customization options are insane on the Bentley Bentayga. In fact, Bentley claims that this has the most number of color options of an SUV. Well, it's hard to believe considering the Cullinan from Rolls-Royce has around 44,000 color options. Now the wheels happen to be 22 inches, 285 40 22s. The wheels are the same both at the front as well as the rear. The disc is massive. These red colored brake calipers are temperature resistant as well. Meanwhile, from the side, as you can see, there is a bit of Audi Q7 in certain places, but hey, it's a Bentley design in every way possible. I love the stance from the rear specifically, and the taillights will also remind you of other Bentley cars. It's got dual exhausts, but each exhaust happens to be really very big indeed. Look at that, chrome plated exhaust, but only one seems to be functional, the other not so much. Let's try and get inside. Yeah, but they've designed it in a way it actually looks wider, which is actually nice. You've got rear parking sensors. This is actually the fog light at the rear, and this happens to be the reverse light. Meanwhile, there's a towing hook at the rear and reflectors too. The lights look really nice. They're beautiful indeed, and a little bit of off-roading here and there has resulted in some amount of sand getting stuck below the wiper area there. Yeah, that's a little soothing. So there's a rear spoiler here along with a light, shark fin antenna, roof rails which don't seem to be functional, but I don't think anyone's going to buy a Bentley Bentayga and put a roof rack, but well, you never know what's going to happen. Anyways, see the gloss black line running there? So that attention to detail in the paint quality is absolutely phenomenal. They have opted for gloss black instead of going the chrome way, which is actually a good thing. And the mirrors are also big enough. Look very sporty indeed. So certainly in terms of design, not the easiest on the eyes, but certainly without a doubt, this is a car which has a lot of presence on the road. Let's get to the boot right away. And it seems like a long walk because the length of the car is around 5.1 meters. The width is slightly less than 2 meters and the height is slightly less than 1.8 meters. It's a big car, but it's not as big as the Rolls-Royce Cullinan. You can just press a button there and of course the boot opens. Now, the disappointing part here is the fact that a lot of features are missing from a test car, which is fine. The boot is actually big enough, it's quite big, and you can press either of these buttons to decline the ride height or increase it as well. Just makes it easier to load in stuff. So right now I'm declining it, actually reducing the ride height of the vehicle, and there it's squatted all the way down. There you can see, yeah, it's gone all the way down. So what we're going to do is we are going to increase the ride height right away, and there you see, yeah, this is actually a very useful feature so that it's just easier to throw in your bags full of money. Actually, I was going to say suitcase full of money, but then who's going to carry money in a suitcase? That's too old school, right? There's a 12-volt charging socket right there, and this happens to be the first aid kit, which I believe does not come standard. You have to pay Bentley around somewhere around a lakh or so for the first aid kit. Doesn't even get Bentley branded band-aids, so might as well buy your own. Yeah, my camera's flipped the other way, unfortunately. Anyways, you know, it gets a 40-20-40 split, but you have to go ahead to actually split the seat. Meanwhile, let's open the under boot floor as well, and here you see there's a spare wheel. The spare wheel isn't an alloy, at least it gets a spare wheel. The Cullinan doesn't get one. So it's orange colored, and the tire size is so small that I feel very embarrassed speaking about it. So we'll just close the boot for the moment. Here, press a button, and there the boot closes. Yeah, it is fast and very sweet as well, the way it sounds once it closes. That's nice too. It gets request sensors on all the doors, and obviously it gets soft door close, so here you don't have to make any effort. It will pull in the door on its own. So here we go, there you see it, it's done. A lot of cars actually get this feature. Now here a lot of things are actually missing, but there's plenty of leather inside the cabin. Lovely red stitching here, which obviously looks nice, and everything inside the cabin feels built to last. Great quality, supreme attention to detail as well. Lock and unlock the door, power window switch, and this is the handle to pull close the door. Now it says Bentley right here, which is also finished in sort of a metal, and it has some chrome as well. This is the rear seat of the Bentley Bentayga. Now you have the option of a 7-seater, you have the option of a 4-seater as well. This happens to be a 5-seater, which means that in the center you don't get a complete center console as such, so that's a little disappointing. Now again, this is the low variant. Meanwhile, this is actually to recline the seat, so you can recline it as per your liking. This is actually going to drop the seat down, so here, but it doesn't fold completely flat. Yeah, it doesn't fold completely flat. I don't think anyone's going to buy a Bentley to haul luggage, but still, just in case you have that idea, I've shown it to you how it's possible. There, yeah. Now if you notice one thing, the angle is a little upright. That thing is completely slanted because I have pushed it all the way behind that seat. So recline angle is there, but it's not that great as such. Here you get twin cup holders in the rear center armrest, and you've got 3 adjustable headrests as well. There is a hump here naturally because this happens to be an all-wheel drive car, and rear AC vents are placed here. Meanwhile, when you get inside, you realize there's good amount of legroom on offer. A good amount of knee room, good amount of legroom on offer, and under thigh support is also very nice indeed. Seat back is scooped out. There are magazine holders here, and headroom is not an issue. You see, there's good amount of headroom, but me being obnoxiously tall, my spiked hair almost touches the roof. Great quality of material. Just look at the quality. It's really very nice. There's a hook, there's a handle, and there's this touch sensitive light as well. Yeah, the touch sensitive light is a nice touch. Actually, AC vents are placed on the B pillar. I was looking for them lower down, but they are placed on the B pillar. So yes, there's good amount of air circulation happening. Seats are really very nice, but like I told you earlier, customization is the name of the Bentley game, which means that the more you pay them, the more you can get, including a screen here along with tables and whatnot, and quilted leather as well. Now this one does not get it. However, you can get quilted leather, you can get everything under the sun. In fact, when I look at the front, as you can see, the interior obviously looks nice, but that clock seems like a normal one. You can pay Bentley around 1.5 crore and they will equip your car with a Breitling clock. Yeah, a Breitling watch, which is priced at rupees 1.5 crores. That's almost half the price of this car. It doesn't make any sense. Half the price globally, not in India, but it makes no sense to get that clock. You might as well get the Audi Q7 on which this car is based on, just in case. However, okay, this is super cool. I mean, the way this has been done is super nice and super awesome as well. It feels so reassuring to use these switches. Now this is obviously to turn on and off the AC vent. Meanwhile, there's this screen here. Now how do I remove the screen? I just have to press this button and there it comes out, and there it comes in my hand. Now this is sort of a tablet treatment, and it's got plenty of controls as well. First and foremost, vehicle data is the coolest thing which I like. Now this is showing me the speedometer of the car. I can turn it like this. Yeah, again it's showing me the current speed, and I can actually browse through date, time and outside temperature, time since the start. So I've been driving this car since 2 hours 45 minutes. Well, that's a lot, covering 67 kilometers. What is the current speed? Well, 0 kilometers per hour because you're not moving, and then you can flip it here to see the clock. Now this is definitely very nicely done, and you can just slot it back like this. But before that, I need to show you more stuff, which means that I can actually operate the audio system from here as well. And you can get into settings, you can get into seat, you can get into a lot of things, because the rear seats also get the heating function. Yeah, no cooling function, but there is a heating function in the rear, which isn't of much use. And you know, love the stitching. Look at the stitching, just so beautifully done, very well done. There are two 12-volt charging sockets here in the lower part, which don't seem easy to access somehow. Meanwhile, that's about it for the rear, because this is not as much as a rear seat car as much as it is a front seat car, or rather a driver's car in that sense, because it misses out on so many things. Every time I get out, I'm searching for that button that it will auto shut, but no, it does not. Okay, spoiled for choice am I with the Rolls-Royce Cullinan. Anyways, let's get inside the vehicle. And you know what they've done? They've put this cool blind spot monitor here, which I will show you once you're driving the car, which you will obviously see multiple times as well. And the seats are really very nice. The seats are one of the best seats I have seen. In fact, it can be adjusted in a multitude of ways, 22 to be precise. Yeah, 22 ways to adjust the seat. That's obnoxious. And you know what's the cool part? You can adjust almost everything. So I'm just going to show you that right now. You see, every time something has been adjusted, you can see it move. It's so satisfying. Yeah, this is the thing which is moving right now. And then here we move it back. It's a little difficult to spot, but you know, the movement is definitely there. Now this thing also moves. Here you see, yeah, this is coming ahead. Now take it behind. That is going behind. Multitude of ways. Under thigh support is not an issue, because you can improve the under thigh support by pressing a button. There you see. Yeah, the seat squab is actually extending to improve the under thigh support, and it extends by a lot. So you can adjust the seat here by pressing these buttons. And it's absolutely obnoxious how many settings it has, but obviously not as much as the Lincoln Navigator, which I think has 28 or something of that sort. Now these are the controls for the power windows, these are the controls for the mirrors, lock and unlock the door, memory seats, so you can save up to 2 people settings. This is to open the boot, and the cavity of the door pocket is big enough so you can keep decent amount of bottles as well. I love the stitching just I cannot get over it. Bentley written right here, just in case when you get inside the car you forget. And the pedals are finished in nice chromish sort of a treatment. Big dead pedal too. Lot of controls here. What are the controls for? Of course, the controls are for the lights. So as you can see it, these controls are for the headlights. This is for the rear fog light, this is for the night vision camera, and this is for the headlight control, and this is for the heads up display, and this is to increase or decrease the intensity or the brightness of the instrument cluster. Can you guys guess what this button is all about? Well, let's see if you can. Meanwhile, the interior might remind you of a lot of Volkswagen and Audi cars, because a lot of the parts actually come from there, which is a little disappointing, because you pay so much for a Bentley only to realize that the parts bin is shared with a cheaper car somehow. Anyways, can you see the heads up display? Yeah, the heads up display is a little far off. It shows you the speed, and the steering is nice to hold. It gets this chrome treatment, a lot of chrome actually, and this beautiful red stitching. Bentley has gone ahead and retained analog clusters, which is actually a nice thing in this world of everybody using digital for no reason whatsoever. On the right we've got a speedometer, on the left we've got a tachometer, and of course the fuel meter as well as the temperature meter inset respectively. In the center we've got a nice and big multi-information display. Now it's very similar to what we see in other Audi cars, because the way the sound actually comes for any notification, like the door is open, okay, yeah, you heard that, and every time I open the door, it actually, you know, moves the seat squab outside so that I can easily get out. That's again a very cool touch indeed. Okay, now it's having similar data to what we see in Audi cars, which makes me feel a little disappointed for sure. But you've got the regular assistants like Bentley Assist, and you know, it's showing you all the information you would ever need while driving a car, but it just doesn't feel special enough. Let me get into the other various aspects. Bentley Safeguard emergency braking system is switched off, and this is to get into the FM as well as the phone modes, and this is the map. Now just imagine a much cheaper Audi comes with a better instrument cluster in the Audi Q7, but hey, let's leave that for the moment. This is super awesome, the way to activate or deactivate the AC vents. Okay, the glove box is decent sized, and as you can see, there is a box there which has 2 slots for SD and a slot for SIM as well, and it also can accommodate a CD changer. Now the manual has been kept here. It's a massive manual. Somehow I'm not able to pull it out. Yeah, this is the manual of the car. Just see how many pages. Absolute insanity. Do you expect me to read this if I buy a Bentley? I have other work to do for sure. Okay, let's get this inside. But it's nice how Audi and Bentley have a proper slot to keep your manual. Meanwhile, love the stitching, love the quality, love the feel of the cabin. Is super nice, it's super awesome without a doubt. Okay, auto dimming inside rear view mirror, which is kind of frameless. Here you get a mirror along with a light. Same is the case on the other side as well. You get a mirror along with a light, and you've got a handle here You've got a handle on the driver's side as well. Usually you don't see that because of airbags. And the red stitching continues everywhere in the cabin. So the cabin does feel very special, but it just misses out on so many features that you're like, okay, it's a special cabin, but where is the equipment? Now this is the button for traction control. This happens to be the start stop button that is actually just turn on the vehicle, and this is for the start stop system actually. So push button start is placed in the center. You actually hunt for it below the steering wheel, and these are the mode selectors of the vehicle. So there's something known as Bentley, which is a mix of sport as well as comfort. Meanwhile, sport is obviously sport, comfort is obviously comfort, and custom is, well, lets you tweak things according to your own liking, which means once you get into custom, you can decide how you want the various parameters of the vehicle to work. And every time you turn on and off the car, the Bentley logo obviously flashes. So let's turn on the car again, and there it makes this noise and rose to life with that t sound. Anyways, twin cup holders here. Gear lever is really nice with the Bentley logo, of course, and this is for the parking system, actually for the parking sensors. That is for automatic parking. This is the handbrake of the vehicle. This is for auto hold, and this is the hazard light switch. Now this is the downhill assist button, and there is storage space here as well. Below the front center armrest, there's good amount of storage space as well, along with a 12-volt charging socket as well, and there are two USB ports here along with an aux port too. So plenty of media options. In fact, there's storage space below the gear lever as well, and you know, this is actually a very deep storage space. Somehow you can keep your mobile phone without any issue whatsoever. The infotainment system is a bit disappointing though, because it feels a little old and out of touch from recent times. Somehow get into car, and there you can see you can actually select the ride height of the vehicle. That's very easy and very nice as well, because you can take the car off-road. So here you can increase the ride height, and there I have actually increased the ride height to maximum. It's saying raised right now. Okay, driving dynamics, Bentley is a mix of both. Meanwhile, tire pressure monitoring is here, and all the systems, the Bentley assist systems are here. You can decide when you want the speed warning. You can also decide how you want the various vehicle configuration to be done. Rear seat entertainment is actually missing in this car, but it's still showing it to me any which ways. Now let's get into reverse right away. When I get into reverse, you can see the reverse parking camera is really very nice, and it also gets a 360-degree parking camera, and you can actually change the mode. So this is super cool the way this has been done, and you can have multiple ways to actually see where you're parking, how you're parking. So cameras are almost everywhere inside this vehicle, which obviously makes it easy to park such a big car. That is where the 1.5 crore clock can sit. Expensive, you bet. These are the controls for the air conditioning of the vehicle, and the best thing is the rotary drives for the air conditioning are really well done. You can see they get the knurled chrome finish, which is amazing, but you know what is the problem? You can't just operate everything from here. You have to rely on the touchscreen. So just for example, if I turn on the air conditioning, there you see the numbers actually come inside. Okay, multiple zone climate control system, which obviously works really well. Now if I want to reduce the fan speed, how do I do it? I press this button, and then the touchscreen has to be operated. Yeah, that's a little disappointing, because I might as well do everything here. In fact, even if I want to turn on the seat heating or the ventilation, well, I have to still rely on the touchscreen. Yeah, and I can actually set what zone I want. I just want the seat, or also the backrest, or also the headrest. So all these things can be adjusted here. The same is the case if I want to turn on the seat ventilation too, there. But you have to use the touchscreen, which is a bit of a problem, because I don't have so much time to go through the touchscreen. I just want to do everything here itself. That's the whole idea of physical controls. Now, so the same thing works for the co-driver as well. You can similarly adjust everything accordingly for both heat cooling as well as, rather, seat cooling as well as seat heating. Now these are obviously the controls for the air conditioning. All the controls are actually for the air conditioning here, along with seat heating as well as seat cooling. Now if I want to turn on massage, what do I do? Well, there's this button. I need to press this button. Yeah, this button. Once I press this button, there it shows me the massage options on offer. So there are multiple massages as well: wave, pulse, stretch, lumbar, shoulder, and I can just select accordingly whatever I want. Massage works really well on this vehicle. I'll turn it off for the moment because it's going to make noise for sure. So this infotainment system could have been better for sure, without a doubt. It feels a little too basic and a little bit too complex for no reason whatsoever. A lot of lights. Now this definitely reminds me of Audi cars, and a lot of things inside this car unfortunately remind me of Audi cars, which doesn't feel as special when you pay so much money for a Bentley compared to an Audi Q7. The sunroof is really big. It's so big that I have to actually speak about other things while it opens. Actually, not the sunroof, but the sun blind, because the roof does not open completely. It only opens the front glass. The rear glass, if it opens, I don't know where it will go. It will just not fit in here. So you see, it brings in a lot of airy feeling. Now let's open the sunroof as well. And there you see, yeah, it is big. That's what she said. It keeps going on and on and on and on, and we are facing the sun right away. Does it open any further? Yeah, it does. that is big. And how? Okay, let's close it for the moment. So as you can see, the Bentley Bentayga is a very comfortable and luxurious SUV. In fact, when you try to customize this car online, there is a separate page for veneers as well as hides. Can you believe that? It uses all kinds of leather, whether it's cow, whether it's sheep and whatnot. It's an absolute furniture on wheels. Now this happens to be an 8-inch screen. It's not the most responsive, but it gets a 60 GB hard drive as well. Meanwhile, okay, this is the night vision camera. Let's turn it on for the moment. That is the night vision camera. It takes some time to initialize, but once done, it gives you a beautiful view of what lies ahead. Now you can see what lies ahead. That is the desert. And in the night vision, you can see everything clearly at night. The lights are very bright at night, offer a great throw as well. High beam. And the ambient lighting aren't that great on this vehicle. We just quickly get into the ambient lighting of this vehicle, which means that, you know, if you're familiar with the Audi system, you will definitely find it without any hitch whatsoever. So first things first, you get into car. And in car, you get into vehicle settings, lighting and visibility, and mood lighting. Now these are the various colors on offer. Not really extensive when you compare to competition. And again, the colors are not that bright at night somehow, so you really can't see them as well. Anyways, the horn is really very nice and loud. In fact, let me make you hear it from the outside. Here we go. This horn can be heard all the way in India, and I'm sitting in Dubai. Can you imagine how loud the horn of this vehicle is? Even the audio system, which I was telling you about, this screen having 30 languages, is by far the best audio system in the world. Apparently, it's got 18 speakers and 1950 watts, making it the best sounding audio system of a production car. However, don't get too excited because this being the lower trim gets only 10 speakers. Let's play an audio right away, which means getting into radio and playing Dubai FM. Audio quality is brilliant. It's absolutely phenomenal. Just imagine what it would be with 18 speakers. Anyways, these are the controls for the indicators as well as for the pass-by switch. This is for the cruise control, and this happens to be the control for the wipers. Let's use the wipers right away. You see, there's good amount of spray on offer. The water actually comes out from the wiper blade itself. Again, let's use that. No, it doesn't come out from the wiper blade. It's coming out from lower part, which can not be seen so easily somehow. Few other things I found, but I could not understand what they mean. Okay, there is this button here. Absolutely no idea what it is. Looks like a Wi-Fi symbol, but certainly this car is not going to give Wi-Fi because this is not an MG Hector. It's not an internet car. Meanwhile, there are some sensors here, which is for adaptive cruise control as well as emergency braking. Right now I have turned it off while driving, just in case to make it easier. And the camera which I was talking about, it's there here at the front. Yeah, inside the body. Can't really see it easily. Coming to the side, I wanted to show you how the car actually looks with the ride height raised to the maximum. And you can see the amount of space between the body as well as the wheels is massive. In fact, you can see the suspension as well. Now this is the suspension. There you see it. Yeah, absolute high quality stuff. Lot of premium bits used inside this cabin for the premium appeal, of course, and great driving dynamics as well. The mirrors are also very advanced in this car somehow, because what happens is when you reverse, they obviously tilt down, but unless and until you don't get to a speed of around 20 kilometers per hour, they do not go back into the original position. There's a fire extinguisher here. Why do we need a fire extinguisher? Well, this is a very hot car, and obviously audio controls are on the steering wheel, which are very similar to the ones which you see on Audi cars. In fact, these lights are super similar to the ones which we see on Audi cars. Now obviously they are bright and you don't just touch them to turn them on. Well, there's another button here to turn on the lights. Yeah, these lights as well. Plenty of lights indeed here. Very bright cabin as such, and steering is adjustable both for reach as well as rake. Look at the knob to do that. Okay, the knurled finishing and loads of chrome. Absolute insanity inside this vehicle. Now, like I told you, this is the memory seat function. It's there on the passenger side as well, and there's actually a button, which this one actually, it is to turn on and off the vehicle's alarm, puddle lights, or maybe to tell others that, you know, you are coming, so be really careful of, well, yourself. Anyways, coming to the front, there's some interesting bit which I forgot to talk about. Night vision camera also has a spray. There's a spray for the night vision camera. Who thinks that level? Let's quickly look at the headlight washer. Yeah, you see the headlight washer actually comes from there. So that is actually the towing hook. This is the headlight washer. So that is super cool inside this vehicle, and yeah, a lot of spray on offer as well. Now there's a 360-degree parking camera. That means below the Outside rear view mirrors, of course, there are cameras as well. But you know what? It is the time we should get driving. So what are we waiting for? Let's get going. I think the car is the other way. Why are we running the other way? Oh yeah, that also makes sense. Just to show you the car from the rear in a beautiful way with this raised ride height. So it's time to get going, which means turning on the vehicle. There it rose to life. You can see the blind spot monitor blinks there when you start up. Getting into drive mode, getting the car into sport mode as well. Air conditioning is actually off, and you can actually decide the ride height settings as well. Anyways, left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator, revving the motor, rev still around 2000 rpm, slightly more than that, and off we go. Acceleration is absolutely brisk. You know, it's absolutely insane how this car pulls so strongly. In fact, I was looking forward to the W12, but this is not the W12. Okay, there you see, right in between there is a patch of sand on the road. We just go slowly so we don't dirty the car, but you see the ride is really very nice. It does a great job. It's super smooth, it's super refined, and the way the car actually moves is supremely awesome. And the motor pulls so hard and strong, that's also unbelievable for a car which is actually just powered. Okay, the brakes are super strong. Yeah, lovely brakes on this car. In fact, the Bentley Bentayga has the largest brakes on any production car right now. And talking about numbers and achievements, this car is also the fastest car on earth. The fastest SUV, actually, don't get too carried away, Faisal. It's the fastest SUV on earth with a top speed of 306 kilometers per hour. Well, that surely is fast, but you know, this whole competition was going on between the VW group. And what kind of a competition it was? Well, it was a very interesting competition, because when the car was actually launched initially, it was the fastest SUV on earth. But then Lamborghini spoiled Bentley's party. They came up with something which was even faster. What a faster SUV than the Bentayga. Yeah, we're talking about the Lamborghini Urus. But how is that possible? Because the fastest SUV from Bentley when it was launched, the Bentayga, was the W12 model with 600 horsepower. Meanwhile, Lamborghini beat them with a V8. Yeah, the same V8 actually, tuned in a different way. They were able to beat Lambo for the top speed record. Well, that's interesting. They kept fighting a lot because the difference was 1 kilometers per hour, and then Bentley was like, enough is enough. They just went ahead and actually launched the Bentayga Speed. And we have to go a little bit off the road right now, but you know, the car is super comfortable, super refined. There is no problem whatsoever. The suspension does a great job. You know, off-road, on-road, you don't feel anything at all. It is just so smooth and refined as well. But you know, the tire profile is on the lower side, so although you don't feel much on such surfaces, over expansion joints you can feel a bit of the stiffness on off. Anyways, I'm talking about the story about the top speed record and stuff like that. How did that actually happen? So when Bentley launched it, they called it the fastest production SUV on earth, which was a great thing. Lamborghini came ahead and beat them to it. And then Bentley went and launched the Bentayga Speed with 626 horsepower, 26 horsepower increase. Well, that's a good thing for sure. You know what's the difference between the Urus and the Bentayga? 1 kilometers per hour. Just 1 kilometer per hour is the top speed difference between both the cars. Absolutely insane. Think about it, both of them are underpinned by a similar platform, because part of the VW group, I believe it's the MLB Evo platform, which also underpins the Audi Q7. This completely gives me vibes of the Porsche Cayenne. Yeah, that car is also underpinned by the same platform using the same engine, but then Porsche has tuned it in a different way altogether. And if you're going to talk about a Lamborghini Urus, the Urus has to come from somewhere, and there it is. The Urus is right ahead of us. Yeah, they're also shooting the Urus right now. Anyways, here we go, onto the gas. The Urus is actually more sporty. The Bentayga is a mix of sportiness and comfort, bringing in a great balance between both. Now the main issue here right now is this engine enough or not? Yeah, it is actually. It's more than enough you would ever need, because what Bentley has done very nicely is tuned his motor so that you don't miss the W12 at all. The W12 is obviously more expensive without a doubt, but more than being just expensive, the W12 has that grunt. It has that sheer power. Top speed difference is not much between both the cars though, because the top speed difference between both the cars happens to be a mere 15 kilometers per hour. So this car will top out at 290 kilometers per hour. It will go from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in just 4.5 seconds. So there's so many engines on offer in the Bentley Bentayga lineup. It's absolutely crazy. So obviously we've got a petrol. So the range actually starts with, I don't know where the range starts with, because their V6, the smaller engine, is actually a hybrid, same as the one which you see in the Cayenne E hybrid. Produces, I think, around 429 horsepower, but it's absolutely slow because it's extremely heavy. It goes from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 5.5 seconds. And being a hybrid, yeah, it only gives an additional range of 50 kilometers. That's it. 50 kilometers on pure electric power. That's nothing. But then you have to also factor in the weight of the car. The weight of the battery actually does everything for the Cayenne E hybrid and also the Bentayga hybrid. But let's leave that out for a moment. Let's talk about the petrol engine on offer. There's a V8, there's a W12. Now the W12 is only available with the Bentayga Speed, and that one has 626 horsepower and 900 Newton meters of torque. And when you talk about 900 Newton meters of torque, there is the Bentayga diesel which comes to mind, because the Bentayga diesel actually is a V8. Yeah, it's powered by a V8 motor, and it produces an obnoxious 400 plus horsepower, making it go from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 4.8 seconds. The diesel torque definitely helps, but it is on the heavier side naturally, because of which, you know, it's not the fastest of the Bentayga lineup, not even close to the V8 which I'm driving right now. It goes from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 4.5 seconds. Now this one produces 550 PS of power. 550 PS of power means 542 horsepower. We've reached a dead end. I'll show you how it's easy to take a U-turn in this car. It feels so light somehow. Yeah, it feels absolutely light in spite of weighing more than 2.4 tons. The difference between the V8 and the W12 happens to be the weight, which is just 55 kgs difference. Well, honestly, that is not much. That's actually nothing to consider about, but still the car feels so much more sprightly in the way it behaves, and the motor revs really very fast as well. This car actually produces a torque output of 770 Newton meters, which comes in at 1960 RPM and peaks all the way at around 5000 RPM, somewhere around that, which gives it a very wide torque range. That's the reason you don't feel any lag whatsoever. There's enthusiasm. Every time you get on the throttle, there is good amount of get go, and it pulls with a lot of enthusiasm as well. The best thing about the vehicle is that in spite of being fast enough, it's quite frugal, because it drops those 4 cylinders. And talking about dropping 4 cylinders, it drops another 4 cylinders when it comes to driving sedately, because it's got cylinder deactivation technology. What it does is it deactivates 4 of its cylinders when it doesn't need them, thereby conserving fuel, running on 4 cylinders only, which means the fuel economy is good. You can get somewhere between 4 to 7 kilometers per liter depending on your driving style. It's got an 85 liter fuel tank as well. Now, over bad patches of the road, you don't feel much. It's only that expansion joints and all those things can be felt inside the cabin, and can be felt in a bad way. Just especially worried, because you're like, oh my god, the tire size, rather the profile is so low. What will happen? Now, the gearbox is super fast shifting. It's an 8-speed unit. It is so enthusiastic that I love the way it goes all the way till almost 7000 RPM without budging whatsoever. The enthusiasm is real. The enthusiasm is sure-footed as well. The car uses a 48 volt anti-roll bar. Yes, 48 volt electric anti-roll bar, which just prevents body roll, makes the car much more agile. And they have used aluminum, which has saved 236 kgs of weight on this vehicle. Around the corner, it's fun. The steering is actually quite feelsome. It's light at lower speeds, does weigh up nicely at higher speeds. And the diesel is something I really want to talk about, because I'm a diesel head. They have a V8 diesel, which is phenomenal. You know why it's phenomenal? Because it doesn't get 1, 2, but it gets 3 turbochargers. Yes, that's right, 3 turbochargers. Out of them, 2 are obviously the normal turbochargers, and 1 is an electric turbocharger. Meanwhile, Bentley claims it is the cleanest Bentley Bentayga right now. Yeah, it is actually the cleanest Bentley ever, sort of. Not actually the one in production. I'm getting so confused, because such big cars, such heavy cars being clean is something it's not easy to digest, but it is the cleanest Bentley Bentayga, which is surprising indeed. Meanwhile, we have the Lamborghini Urus on the left. You guys can have a glance. It does look really nice. Sweet looking car for sure. Yeah, the sound from that motor is really nice, but it takes a Lamborghini 8 cylinders to beat a Bentley with 12 cylinders. And talking about 12 cylinders, well, the whole competition seems to be in terms of top speed, because in terms of outright acceleration, this one is like 4.5 seconds. The Lambo is super fast in terms of acceleration, unbeatable. Even the W12 Speed Bentayga goes from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 3.9 seconds. The regular model, the non-speed, the W12 with 600 horsepower used to go in 4.1 seconds. Meanwhile, the Porsche Cayenne Turbo, actually the same engine, goes from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 3.7 seconds, and the Urus goes from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in a mind-boggling 3.4 seconds. But then many people are like, oh my god, that is just a glorified Audi Q8. Well, if we talk on the same breath, this car, this Bentayga, also feels a lot like an Audi in many ways, but then that's the advantage of sharing parts. Both advantages and disadvantages as well. Braking performance is really very strong, super sure-footed brakes, and it stops dead in line, no drama whatsoever. The Bentayga obviously uses an air suspension with electronic damping, which means that, you know, it gives a good balance between ride and handling. Around the corners, you always have a big smile on your face because the roll is well contained for a car of this size. The sound is also nice, the insulation is great. In fact, the motor is super refined, super smooth, but get hard onto the gas and that sporty snarl comes, which is actually very soothing to hear as well. But for me personally, what I really love about the Bentayga is the fact that it blends both of the things beautifully. So it's not outright very sporty, well, but then it's also not outright very uncomfortable. So it's a big, great balance between both, and I think we've hit a dead end. And now, since I'm going to be going a little bit on the rough side, rather the sandy side, let me tell you, it has the widest range of on and off-road modes of any production SUV in the market right now. So Bentley hasn't shied away at all by loading this car with a lot of electronics, and they work really well to give you an experience which is a great balance between sporty driving as well as comfort. And the ride quality is really nice. I love the ride quality. I love the high-speed stability as well. This car itself does 290 kilometers per hour, which is absolutely no joke whatsoever. What a car. Love the gearbox, super fast with shift. This 8-speed unit actually feels like a dual clutch. It's not a dual clutch. This actually happens to be a torque converter, and how fast is that with its shifts? Really sure-footed as well. So as you can see, the Bentley Bentayga is a car which has a sporty pretext, yet has all the comfort and luxury. But let's get onto the highway. The Bentley Bentayga is available in two variants in India. There is the V8 and the W12, obviously the highest spec trim. The price the price is 4.17 crores. Actually, I was confused with the price of that, optional watch. This is not the one actually, but Bentley has not loaded that on our test car. The price 4.17 crores for the V8, and for the W12 the price happens to be 4.84 crores. That's a lot of money because it's a CB, obviously a lot of taxes on the vehicle. But trust me on this car feels special. It's a great balance between driving fun as well as off-road ability, practicality. Now you can take it off-road, it's quite capable there as well, but I doubt many people would even venture off the road with this car because it's all about luxury here, and you don't want to get the car dirty or your shoes dirty when you go off the road. But for dune bashing, it does brilliantly well. That's the reason why the Bentayga has become very popular. But mind you, it's not Bentley's top selling car. It still happens to be the Continental GT. Well, that is reason enough for you to actually consider the Continental GT over the Bentayga, because the Continental GT looks so much more fluid, better, and definitely drives better too. But this one is much more capable in almost every terrain. Like I was showing you the modes on offer, they alter the engine, the gearbox, the suspension, as well as the steering wheel. And let me tell you, amongst all the VW group cars, this has a great steering comparatively, but not as good as the Lambo steering, because obviously they're sports cars. This is more about grand touring somehow, which is a great mix of luxury as well as comfort. There is a ton of grip on offer because all-wheel drive and massive tires, and the chassis balance is also very good on this vehicle. So on the corners, I mean, it's very reassuring. Somehow it doesn't feel its weight at all. You would expect a car of this size to feel its weight. This one just does not feel its weight. It just feels so much balanced and fluid in the way that you would actually take to driving it every day if you buy one. But then, it does not attract as much attention as I would have hoped for. That's quite surprising somehow, because the Rolls-Royce Cullinan was attracting so much attention, it was awkward. Unless and until you have raised the ground clearance massively, or the ride height, like this car, people are not going to turn around and see, oh, what truck is that? But it's a very capable car in the real sense, and very fast as well. The kind of speeds it can do without any hiccup makes the Bentayga a very interesting car as such. But the competition is such that if I had to pick up something from the VW family itself, I would pick the Urus, in spite of it having lesser cylinders if you compare it to the W12 model. I love the fact that they are paddle shifters, but I hate the fact that I cannot manually keep control of gears all along. Now right now we are in S. As soon as I click on any of the paddles, it gets into manual mode and it downshifts in a jiffy. So the gearbox is always attentive, ready for action, and never ever hesitates whatsoever. You want a downshift? Here's a downshift. You want an upshift? Here's an upshift. And this 8-speed gearbox is so smooth and refined, just like the engine, which is so smooth and refined. Beautifully done, very well engineered. Somehow, just for the badge you're paying that extra money, and that's what brings me in love with the Porsche Cayenne even more, because technically the Cayenne is also very similar, a little bit more sportier, less luxurious, but still a splendid car. So as I see it, the Q7, the Bentayga, the Urus, as well as the Cayenne are all similar cars, but with a different character, and that character can be felt. Unless and until you are an enthusiast, you will not realize that these cars are actually based on the same recipe. And talking about the Bentayga specifically, it is like a margarita pizza. You choose your own toppings depending on how big your wallet is, because the amount of customization on this vehicle is absolutely staggering. Believe you me, the amount of money you spend is how your Bentayga will turn out. Unfortunately, this particular car did not have much money spent on it or showered on it. That's the reason it's kind of a margarita pizza with no cheese. And if you like this vlog, you know what you have to do. Give it a thumbs up. That's the like button. As I'm getting stuck in a traffic jam, it's time to end. Look at the enthusiasm. In this heat, a person is riding a BMW motorcycle, a touring motorcycle, with all that weight, with all that heat, but with all riding gear, all the gear, all the time. Bye-bye.